Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Dope Student Podcast, the show where we dive into stories, the struggles, and the successes that drive Philadelphia's best and brightness to inspire the next generation. I'm Dania, and joining me today are my awesome co-hosts, Cassidy and Jemiah. Today, we have a very special guest who's making big moves in education right here in our city. Welcome, Miss Edwards, Assistant Superintendent of Learning Network 11.
Ms. Edwards is no stranger to Philly. She's a product of the various school districts she serves and has dedicated over 23 years to improving the lives of students and teachers alike. From starting out as a teacher to earning degrees in elementary education and educational leadership, her journey is a testament to commitment and growth in the world. Ms. Edwards, we are thrilled to have you here. Our listeners are in for some powerful insights today.
Absolutely. Miss Edwards, you not only brought your knowledge, but also brought your passion for educational equity. And we can't wait to dig into what the means of your students today. We'll talk about the ups, the downs, and the reflections it takes to thrive in a field that's constantly changing. So let's jump in, Miss Edwards. To start off, could you share a bit about your background and what inspired you to pursue a career in education?
Oh, thank you for that. So I was born in Charlottesville, Virginia, and up until 12th grade, I lived in Virginia. I went to a school that was not very diverse, so I was one of the few minorities in that school. And at an early age, I learned that I was different and I was made to feel different. My mom was a young mother, and when she graduated and got her degree, she became a teacher as well, and we transitioned to Philadelphia. When I came to Philadelphia, it was challenging. I had a little twang, a little country twang, and people made a lot of fun of me just because I was different. And it wasn't what I was used to, so I would say it was a real culture shock coming to Philadelphia. However, despite that, I had a really powerful and amazing teacher in middle school who he saw something in me that I did not see in myself. And he just encouraged me to pursue, more rigorous classes and to think about like the special admit high schools that I know you guys have been thinking about going to. And so he was one of the ones who encouraged me to pursue that. So I think that having the foundation of my mom with her perseverance and her dedication, because being a young mom is not easy, especially back when I was born. And then also having a teacher who just showed me that he believed in me and showed me that there was more for me, made me want to also do that for my students.
You've accomplished so much, Ms. Edwards. With degrees across several areas and years of experience, each step has been vital. How did each of these stages prepare you for your current role as Assistant Superintendent?
So each degree that I have, along with the cost of those degrees, I felt a lot of experience came with receiving those degrees. I started out in sociology, and then I transitioned to education. So I think that sociology helped me understand more global issues, and then education helped me hone in on what our students needed. So I think it was like a happy medium between the two. And I also consider myself a consummate learner. Like I have a lot of degrees because I do want to learn and I want to be the best that I can at the level that I'm at and the field that I'm at. So that's why I kind of just keep pursuing education and opportunities through learning.
And as someone who grew up right here in Philly School District, I bet that's influenced how you connect with students and educators. How has your own school experience shaped your vision for education today?
Okay, that's a good question. So being a product of the school district, because I do consider myself a product of the school district, I think it gives me unique insight into what our students have faced and the experiences that they've had. I think that it helps me to have a sense of ownership and accountability over our students because I've been there and I know the challenges that many of you face. Even though that was many years ago that I was in 8th grade, there were still a lot of challenges, crime, educational inequity, all kinds of challenges that plagued our school system, lack of resources sometimes, lack of support from some of the people who should be supporting us the most, our teachers and our families. So I think that having all of those experiences helps me be more aware, and it also prompts me to just own this work and have a passion for it, and I think a greater passion than some people who may not have grown up the way that I did and come up through the school district of Philadelphia. So I'm committed to Philly, and I want Philly to thrive, and I want my students to thrive. So, yeah.
One thing we know you're passionate about is educational equity. Why does that matter so much to you, and how do you see it affecting lives of students here in Philly?
With educational equity, it matters so much because our students deserve it. At minimum, our students deserve access and opportunities. And I felt like when I was a teacher, that was my goal. When I was a principal on a larger scale, because I had teachers under me and many more students, that was my goal, to just make sure that every opportunity, regardless of where you come from and what your challenges may be, you have access to it. And so in believing that, our students are definitely our future, and so I have to invest in that future, and I feel like anyone who's in this system or in this profession needs to have that mindset as well.
We can only imagine the challenges you've faced to get here. What are some of the biggest obstacles you've overcome in your career, and what kept you motivated during these tough times?
So some challenges that I face, and I feel like I still face, you saw me coming here all anxious. So I often get anxious, and I internalize it, and I question myself and my capabilities. But then Mr. Jarrett reminded me of my why, and he said my students were here ready for me. And so I think that just acknowledging your challenge or the obstacle or whatever plagues you, because I feel like anxiety sometimes plagues me, is half the battle. So that I'm aware of it. I know I have certain things that I need to do to kind of address it and get over it. And so I think that helps me. And I think that the challenges that we face as students, and I would encourage my students to just know that this is only a season. This is only a temporary time in your life, and it's not going to last forever. And there are people who believe in you, who are here for you, and you just have to tap into the positive so that you can persevere.
Exactly. And you've been such an advocate for giving students the support they need to thrive. For any of our listeners who might be struggling, what advice would you give them to keep pushing forward?
I think I just said that you have to push forward, and you have to believe that this is only a period in your life that's not going to last forever. So you're going to grow up. You're going to have many more experiences, some disappointing, some really amazing experiences. So just know that this is just a brief snippet of the whole thing. And I also want to encourage them that trust that everything that you're doing can be a lesson. You can learn from your obstacles, you can learn from your challenges, but also you have to tap into the people who care for you and love you, whether it's a family member, whether it's a really good friend, whether it's a teacher, whether it's your principal. You have to tap into those people who love you and want you to succeed, so that they can speak that life over your life and help you with the struggles that you guys have.
And Ms. Edwards, you worked in so many roles, from classroom teaching to school leadership. We know you value diversity and the importance of understanding students' unique backgrounds. Why do you think it's essential for students to appreciate the diversity of their peers?
That is one of the main reasons that I love Mayfair. I feel like Mayfair is such a diverse school, with peers and students from all backgrounds and ethnicities. And I think that it's important to for students to just embrace one another, but also take this as the opportunity to learn from your peers and to grow and to have experiences that will set you up for your future goals or your future jobs or your future experiences, just to be well-rounded. And I think that it's just really a great opportunity for students, if you are fortunate enough to be in this diverse system in school, I think it's a good idea to get to know those people who are different from you, because you can learn a lot from someone who doesn't look like you or sound like you.
We're also curious about your role in advocacy. You see educators as advocates. How do you believe students benefit when teachers champion their needs?
So I think every student needs a champion, and that's a famous quote from an educator, Rita Pearson, and I wholeheartedly believe that. I think that when teachers fight for and are the champions for their students, students have optimal outcomes and optimal experiences and just optimal access. I think that this is investing in our future and shaping our future. And so to do that, I have to put something in to get what I want out. And so I think that teachers really need to think about the impact that they have, because you can make or break a student. You know, just with one word, you can make or break a student. And so who do you want to be remembered as? When my students look back on me for years, do I want to be remembered as that educator who championed for them, who fought for them, who advocated for them, but who also held them to very high expectations? Or do I want to be the educator who who just, not let them down, but just came to collect a check? Let's be real. So I think that that's why educational equity is so important. And also just me coming up and not having equitable access and coming up, growing up in a rural school district with minimal people of color who look like me, and made to feel very different. I think that not having equitable experiences in my foundational years led me to know the importance of making sure my students have them now.
Education is changing all the time. How do you keep up with those changes, especially when it comes to making sure students get the best possible support?
So I think I said it already, but I feel like I'm a lifelong learner. And so anything that you do, you can't be stagnant in it. You have to be willing to seek support, seek professional learning experiences, professional development. I think we're fortunate in the school district that they do offer a lot of opportunities for educators and school leaders to just hone in on their craft. So I think that I would say it's just really important to keep learning, to never stop learning. You never reach a plateau where you've arrived and you know everything. So just to continue pushing and learning and striving to know more.
And we know you have many proud moments in your career. What are some of the milestones you're most proud of, and what do you hope students can learn from them?
So I have a lot of milestones and things that I've experienced that I'm really proud of, but I will have to say that my milestone and one of my most proudest moments and most humbling is to be sitting right here with you guys. You guys thinking enough of me to ask questions and find out more, I think is just truly amazing. I think that this platform that you've been given, thanks to Mr. Jarrett, is wonderful, because you get to have your voices heard and elevated. And not every student, especially every eighth grader in the school district of Philadelphia, has that opportunity. And I would say that it just reminds me that as educators, we need to ensure that we are creating these opportunities for all of our students. It shouldn't just be a Mayfair thing. This should be the norm. Access and opportunity for all of our students should be the norm.
I understand you've been a part of the Leadership Pathways Task Force for students listening who are interested in leadership. How do you think they can build their skills early on, prepared to similar opportunities?
So, yes, I did the leadership pathways. I've done a few pathways, because I did a pathway for becoming an educator, because that was a change in life moment for me. And then when I did the leadership pathways, I think that what I would recommend for students is to just seek opportunities and take advantage of them. When somebody puts something in front of you, even if you have anxiety like me, challenge that and make sure that you are constantly looking to elevate and to move higher in whatever your career or field would be.
And on a more personal note, we heard you grew up on a farm with a horse named Queenie. Do you think those early experiences taught you anything that still influence your work in education?
Absolutely. So growing up on a farm was not easy. I think I mentioned a little bit, my mom, she was a single mom, but shout out to all the grandparents who hold down their grandbabies, because my grandparents were instrumental in supporting my mom. My mom was a great mom, a great role model. My grandparents were instrumental. So I think having that foundation of love and support, but also being able to, like, it was vastly different than Philadelphia, where we have a lot of concrete and streets. There we had a lot of lands and field. And yes, I did have a horse named Queenie. She never let me ride her, though. She only let me brush her and feed her apples, but she never let me ride her. But I think that just having that's just a diverse or different experience that I had. I'm sure that many of you can think about experiences that you've had that are unique to you. That was interesting, an interesting part of life.
We want to inspire students to think about their future in education. What advice would you give to a young person considering career in teaching or school leadership?
So I would definitely suggest, if you want the path for education, that you let your counselors know so that you can kind of get on that path. When you apply to school and you apply to high school, make sure that you are taking advantage of every opportunity, because as an educator and as a teacher especially, it's so much more than just what's in the classroom. You have to be the social worker. You have to be the advocate. Sometimes you have to stand in the gap for the parents. So I think that just having a wealth of experience and opportunities will help you be well-rounded in this field. And then if I'm still around in 5 years, shoot me an email and I can help you with that, in addition to all the classes that you take in college and everything, that career path. But shoot me an email. We'll see what we can do.
And lastly, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? How can students apply that wisdom to achieve their own dreams?
One piece of advice would probably be to invest in Apple. And I don't know if you know what that is, but your Apple phones, your Apple computers, your Apple AirPods, all of those things. So I think that one piece of advice I would give my younger self is to invest, because then I'd be rich. I'd be filthy rich. However, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you unless you got rich Tamara Edwards on your podcast, which that could be doable too. But so learn from the opportunities and the mistakes that you kind of didn't make, about the decisions that you didn't make. Learn from that and grow from that, and make sure that you make the best of what you're doing now, and make sure that, like in this role, I want to be the most impactful that I can be, and I'm hoping that I'm doing that.
Ms. Edwards, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. It's clear that your journey is all about resilience, passion, and the belief that students can achieve greatness with the right support.
For our listeners, we hope Ms. Edwards' story inspires you to see what possible in education and beyond. Thank again, Ms. Edwards, for joining us on the Dope Student Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And for everyone tuning in, remember, stay curious, stay motivated, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Dope Student Podcast.
Bye.